Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, neighbors, and relatives, welcome to the Bald Expat. So, here I am. This is not the Philippines. This is one of the Great Lakes, actually. So, I have come to the state of Michigan, and one of the things that you'll have to decide to do when you decide to move to the Philippines for good is still determine what state you're going to have U.S. residency in. And that can make a big difference for some people. So, depending upon the type of income you have, whether that be retirement from a 401k, from a pension plan from your employer, Social Security, or disability like myself, it can make a difference whether or not you're going to be paying taxes on that income, even though you are in the Philippines. So I was in the state of Tennessee for the past 6 years. That does not have a state income tax at all. Now, I was born and raised in Michigan. I still have family in Michigan, and that is where I'm currently at. I am actually standing on a pier, and that is Lake Erie behind me. So I have decided to establish residency in Michigan because Michigan does not tax. They completely exempt. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around here. They completely exempt Social Security disability income from state taxes. So that was a comfort to me, number one, because I am familiar with the state of Michigan. And I still have family there. I'm staying with one of those family members now. And I can establish residency here, not pay any income at all, or income tax, I should say, not pay any state tax for my income from disability. So that was a huge factor for me. You may or may not need to change states, but I would definitely make sure that you look into that. Look at where your different sources of income are coming from and where you have residency at, and really look into how much tax you're going to be paying. That little bit of difference from state income tax, whether it be $100 or $150, say on average a month, if you were to take it out for a year and average it. In the Philippines, that $100, $150 is a lot. So it may make a big difference in your Philippines existence. May not make a big difference in your American existence because you're used to it. Maybe you've been paying that particular state income tax for years. And so you're not going to think about it. You go to the Philippines, still pay your state income tax. But I'm telling you that it can make a big difference. $200 can be more than half of your rent that you'll pay in the Philippines. And so, yeah, see, I'm standing in an area called Detroit Beach is what it's called. And you can see how packed it is. We still don't quite have go to the beach weather here in Michigan. But as I was saying, consider that really, really close. What state you're going to have your U.S. residency in. So I am going to establish my U.S. residency here, which means I had to be here long enough, or I have to be here long enough, to go get a Michigan driver's license. And for times that I am going to be back, or if I specifically have to come back for a medical emergency or something important, I have to change my Medicare over to a Michigan Medicare plan. So Medicare is maybe something that I can't use in the Philippines, which I can't use. But you can't dismiss the fact that something could happen in your life or something could happen to you in the Philippines, whether it be cancer or some other kind of incidents that you, or disease that you need to get treated and come back to the United States to get treated for. You have to consider that possibility. And so you have to move your medical to your state of residence and kind of be prepared for that. That would be important. I come from a law enforcement background, and in a law enforcement background, you prepare for the worst and you hope for the best. So just try to look at things from that mindset when you go to the Philippines. Everything's going to be great. Maybe you're super healthy. You hike every day, you run every day, and that's fantastic. You get over there, you're hiking a canyon, and you make a false step with your move, and you have a very serious break that needs treatment, maybe beyond what they can do there. So just consider that. Something I'm going to start adding is little Philippine fact or point of interest. So Philippine point of interest, and I am cheating. I am using a sheet for this because a number of concussions. My memory's not that good. The Philippines was actually bought from Spain in 1899 by the U.S. Even though at that time there was a Declaration of Independence, the U.S. did buy the Philippines from Spain. In 1934, the U.S. did have a 10-year plan, an official 10-year plan approved by Congress to grant Philippines its independence. So that was a 10-year plan put in place in 1934. In 1941, December, Japan invaded the Philippines. And so that 10-year plan was interrupted. But U.S. and Philippine forces did fight side by side. And despite a signature of surrender, they ended up repelling the Japanese forces and keeping the Philippines in U.S. control. In July 1946, July 4th of 1946, the U.S. did withdraw its sovereignty over the Philippines, granting the Philippines its own independence, its own sovereignty. Now, the Philippines did decide to recognize June 12th as its official Independence Day, because that was a day that before the U.S. bought the Philippines from Spain, that they declared their independence. It was on June 12th in 1898. So the Philippines chooses to use that as their Independence Day, and that's fantastic. So that's just a little history, little facts about the Philippines. You may find it interesting or not. But anyways, remember, consider what state you're going to have your U.S. residency in should you decide to do what I'm doing, which is go to the Philippines full time. It can really make a difference. Do some research, find out what state works best for you, and follow that. In the meantime, remember, Maganda ang kalbo. Thank you, or salamat, for stopping by.